These are my top 3 Quran apps for listening to the Quran. In my last video, I talked about how after reviewing nearly 50 different apps to find the best ones, I had to break it down into categories because they were all so different and they were great for different reasons. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you about the 3 apps that I think are the best if you're trying to listen to the Quran. Now, a lot of Qurans already come with the Quran listening feature, but these are unique because they're primarily made for listening, and so a lot of the features are going to be geared for that throughout the app. At my number 3, we have Quran Pro. Quran Pro is a pretty good app. It looks really nice. It has over 75 different reciters, and you can make playlists and you can shuffle through surahs from a certain reciter. And it also gives you the ability to read the Quran while you're listening to it. It just gives you that mushaf feel or that real Quran feel flipping through the pages for those who want that as well. Now, a lot of the features, the parts that make Quran Pro unique are premium, and so you have to pay either $7 a month, $30 a year, or $90 for the lifetime. And this will give you more high quality sound and no ads and give you more customization options. Now, the reason it's not my number 1 is because I don't really see myself using these features, like these playlists based on different themes and categories. But I know a lot of people might find this cool and might find it worth it, so I put it on my list. At my number 2, I have an app that might surprise you, and it gives a whole new spin to the meaning of listening to the Quran. This app is called the Clear Quran Audiobook. Now, the app is fairly new, but the Clear Quran, for those of you who don't know, is a very popular translation of the Quran by Dr. Mustafa Khattab. And so what they did with this app, they dramatized the translation, which I was a little skeptical about in the beginning, and they have it narrated by renowned scholars such as Dr. Umar Suleiman, Dr. Yasir Qadhi, Sheikh Abdul Nasir Jangda, and many others. And at certain parts, when appropriate, they would add background noises like flowing water or the hustle and bustle of a busy city. So it really creates this rich experience of listening to the translation of the Quran. Also, if you have a story between 2 different people, they'll use 2 different voices to voice them so that you can know who is saying what. And that really sets it apart from actually reading the translation, because sometimes you're like, wait, who said that? And so after listening to a couple surahs in this way, I was actually hooked. And so this is why I highly recommend it. One thing I also love about this app is how every surah is introduced with an overview of that surah, and also how it might relate to the surah before it. And the verses of the surah are broken up into sections based off of the theme and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. And so it's very easy to follow along with the translation and keep up with what's going on. There are a few surahs that are free to listen to, but the rest of them are paid. So you can either pay $5 a month, or you can pay for the 6 months and it comes down to about $2 a month. Or you can pay for the 12 months, which is more, coming out to about $4 a month. Then, of course, you have the lifetime option of paying $50. At my number 1, my top recommendation for listening to the Quran, we have Tarateel AlQuran. Now, it's not Tarateel, which is also a very popular app, the AI app that listens to you when you're reciting and then catches your mistakes and tells you what you said wrong, which I'll talk about more in my video about memorization apps. But Tarateel is my number 1 because it has such a huge library of reciters that you can listen to, over 200 reciters. It looks nice and it's free. Now, the only downside is that you can't actually read the Quran while using the app, so it's meant to be more of a companion for you when you're reading the actual Quran. Now, the reciters are categorized based on their speed and based on the dialect of the Quran that they're reciting in. And without getting into too much detail, most people should just stick to what they have labeled as Hafs an Asim, Murattal. And if you want to explore the other options, I've created this quick guide for you. And I'll end with a final disclaimer. Many scholars have warned against listening to the Quran when you can't give it your full attention, like when you're studying or when you're doing chores and you just have it playing in the house somewhere. That goes against the adab and the manners of the Quran. So I would just tell you to avoid that. But with that being said, if you found this video helpful, I ask that you like it and share it with your family and friends. Assalamu alaikum.